Here's a super simple guide on how to redirect and capture an asteroid in Kerbal space program. To start, we're going to head to the tracking station and find a suitable asteroid. What we want is an asteroid that will enter Kerbin's sphere of influence, but just to increase the risk if we fail, I'm going to look specifically for an asteroid that will impact Kerbin directly. Once we have discovered an asteroid we like, we can then head to the vehicle assembly building to construct our rocket. To start, I'm going to build out a classic escape pod like you've seen in my other videos, just in case something goes wrong. The only difference is, instead of a docking port up top, we're adding a grabbing unit instead. Now the escape pod is done, we can build out our spacecraft. For this, we're going to want a lot of fuel because asteroids are extremely heavy. And because of this, I'm going to opt for an efficient Wolfhound engine too. Instead of adding RCS to this stage, I simply add some Werner engines to the bottom. After adding some solar panels, our payload is now complete. Next, we want to build our upper stage. Because our payload is so large, I add an adapter to make our rocket wider, and then add a large amount of fuel for our Rhino engine, which will get us all the way out to the asteroid. It's also a good idea to add some more Werner engines on the bottom of this stage too. Now it's time to build the launcher. For this, I add yet another adapter to make the rocket 5 meters wide, and then add some of the largest fuel tanks. For this stage, I opt to use 9 Mastodon engines, but you could probably get away with just 5. Optionally, you could add some boosters on the sides for additional Delta V, but just like that, we're ready to launch. Now before we set off, we should check the map to see where our asteroid is. When it comes to doing a rendezvous with an incoming asteroid, we have 2 main strategies. The first is to launch now and meet with the asteroid long before it reaches Kerbin. The second and more simple approach, which we will use here, is actually to wait for the asteroid to come to us, launching just before it enters Kerbin's sphere of influence. When it gets close, we can launch ourselves into a standard low-altitude parking orbit around Kerbin, where we will plan our approach. Our aim now is to get our apoapsis in roughly the same place as where the asteroid will be entering the sphere of influence. We also want to time it so that when we arrive at the apoapsis, the asteroid has just entered Kerbin's sphere of influence, as indicated by the target position markers. You may have to wait a few orbits before burning to achieve this, depending on how close the asteroid is when you launched. When we arrive, we want to switch the nav ball to target mode. Here we have 2 options. The first is simply to burn retrograde to cancel out our relative speed, before burning towards the target to close in on it. The second option is to combine these into a single burn, which is recommended for more advanced pilots. Now we're closing in on the target. We can essentially treat it like any other docking. When we get close, after arming the grabbing unit, we want to approach the asteroid at no more than 2 meters per second, keeping the target icon in the center of our nav ball. But just like that, we've caught the asteroid. Now I'm immediately going to turn our spacecraft to point radial out, and then conduct a burn. This will raise our periapsis and prevent the asteroid from impacting the planet, but our work isn't done. We then want to time warp down to the periapsis and do a retrograde burn to capture the asteroid into orbit. I actually end up using the majority of the spacecraft's fuel doing this, as I don't want it to get an encounter with the Mun. Once we're happy with the orbit, we want to save just a few meters per second of Delta V before detaching the asteroid. When we detach, our Delta V shoots way back up to a few hundred meters per second without the asteroid slowing us down. We can now deorbit and safely return the crew.